Hey friends, how's it going? Jebber Gaming Jaws here. Wanted to have a discussion about why I retro game personally. This is all about why I do it. It has nothing to do with why other people do it. Um, you can game or not game or modern game or retro game or whatever you want to game. Game. Just go ahead and game. It's a lot of fun, however you choose to do it. So, I play a lot of modern games. I also play a lot of retro games. I love modern gaming. I feel like gaming right now is very different than it ever has been. It's definitely more in depth, and I feel like some of the experiences that you're getting right now are some of the best ever of all time. With that being said, though, there are so many games from old systems that are absolute gems. I just feel like right now is such an amazing time to be a gamer. I feel like there is a never ending supply of games for me that are all nines and tens, just absolutely amazing perfection, gaming perfection. And I feel like for me to move through each system and play as many of them as I can, I have the rest of my life. And not to mention that games continue to be released. Um, it's just awesome. Now, one of the reasons that I retro game is I don't want to miss out on those games. There are a lot of games that I missed out on at the time because I was young, because I didn't have money, because I was too busy doing other things. Um, I mean, when I was really younger, I wasn't really allowed to buy more consoles. Like we had a Sega Genesis, and I had to work really hard to get my mom to allow me to buy a PlayStation with my own money. And once I did that, it's the same thing again. When the PlayStation 2 was coming out, they were like, "You already have a PlayStation. I don't know if you really need another one." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, no!" So, thankfully, I was pretty good at wearing them down, and I usually ended up with what I wanted. By the time I was a teenager, later on, it was all good. I could buy whatever I wanted. So, the cool thing about being an adult and doing retro gaming is that you can do as much of it as you want. I love it. It's amazing. Um, So retro gaming, there's just so many games out there to play. Just because a game is newer doesn't make it better. Um, there's so many old games that I would rather play over a lot of the new games that come out, obviously. Um, but another thing is, it just kind of gives you a lot of different styles to pull from. Newer games are kind of going in a very like similar direction. Like a lot of them are very similar to each other, where it's these huge, expansive, modern, open world, crazy games. Which is awesome. But sometimes that's not what I'm looking for. Sometimes I want like an arcade style game. Sometimes I want um, just like uh, old school turn based JRPG, just basic. And, that's a lot harder to find nowadays. There are definitely ways to find it, handhelds especially. But, like, why limit yourself? That's one of the things I would definitely say, too, that I love about just gaming in general from all generations. Like, don't limit yourself. There's so many amazing games out there. So, experience it all. Don't get hung up on, I like this system, I don't like that system, I hate that company, blah, blah, blah. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, go game. If you like the games, play them. If you don't. But, don't get hung up on bullshit. Like, if you're limiting yourself just because of biases or whatever, like, you're only hurting yourself. There are amazing games on just about every single console. I can't think of a single console that doesn't have at least a few amazing games on it. Especially at least the mainstream ones. So, do yourself a favor and look over the consoles. One cool thing about retro gaming also is that being on the side of it where you know take any old console like the original PlayStation. You can look at the PlayStation. Um, you can see, oh man, the console is super cheap. I can pick it up for like 10-15 bucks right now, no problem. That's easy. And then the games are not very expensive for the most part. Some of the RPGs and stuff are, some rare ones, but in general, you can buy so many high quality, amazing games on that system for very inexpensive. And you also look at the entire library, you know exactly what's on it. You don't have to be wondering, like, is there going to be something on there that I want? You look at the library, is there something you want? Buy it. If not, like, go on to a different system. If there's nothing on the PlayStation that intrigues you, maybe you need to look somewhere else. Look at the NES or the Super NES or the N64 or the GameCube or the PS2 or the OG Xbox. I mean, the Sega Saturn. It just goes on and on and on. Turbo Graphics. I've never even played the Turbo Graphics, but from what I hear, it's like right up there with the Genesis and the Super Nintendo. Is amazing. So to me, that's just like I'm just overwhelmed as it is with the consoles that I already have. Like there's a never-ending supply of amazing, amazing, amazing experiences out there. I feel like being a gamer right now, we have so many choices. It's incredible. Like I can play any console that I have basically. I could play games on that for the rest of my life pretty much. Like the PS2, are you kidding me? Like if I really wanted to like go through every RPG, every awesome action game, that would take me years. OG Xbox, geez Louise, PS3 for crying out loud. Like you can pick up those games for so cheap, or the 360. Man, and you'd be totally set. It's a little, it's a little bit of a bummer. I feel bad for like new parents who don't really know much about gaming. Like they're always probably having to buy stuff for their kids and keep them up with the modern new stuff. And I was in the store the other day at GameStop, and this kid had a 360, and he's there looking at the 360 games, and I'm like, the 360 is dead and old and gone, and yet there's still like an entire freaking wall dedicated to the console. And the games are what, like $3 a piece, $5? Like, it's amazing. Like, you do not need to be on the most modern stuff to have good gaming experiences. It's definitely like there's definitely nothing wrong with it. I love my modern consoles. My PS4 has been just mind blowing to me. I've had some of the best experiences ever on that. But that's just my point. Like, there's something for everyone, and decide what you want and go and get it. And man, like right now is the time to be a gamer. It's so awesome. There's so much out there. There's so much choice. Anything that you want. Do you like portable? You can go pick up Game Boy Advance and just you already know how many games are on it. Look through the list. Find what you love. Find what you like. You will not be disappointed. I'm telling you what. I'm just yeah, I get all fired up because I love it right now. It's like gaming is just so, so, so fun right now. It's a great time to be a gamer. And even though things are getting a little more expensive, like if you're not into collecting, do emulation. Like you can get, man, talk about cheap gaming. I mean, oh my gosh, most of the old school games, like I always want the hard copy just because I'm into that sort of thing, and I want the most true experience that I can have. But if that doesn't really matter to you, geez, like download emulators for old games, and like you're just set. You got everything at your beck and call, like on your phone, on your computer, on your tablet, whatever. It's all good. Virtual consoles. If things are too expensive from like the NES or the Super NES, you can usually buy, you know, Earthbound, which is like $1,000 game if you've got it all together. I think you can buy it for pretty cheap on the Virtual Console. Like, I don't remember the exact number, but like between 10 and $30 if I remember right. So pretty cheap. Like why not play it? All right, guys. So I just wanted to talk about why I love gaming, why I like modern gaming, why I love retro gaming, why everybody should be into some sort of gaming if they like games. If not, then you wouldn't even be watching this anyways. So, all right, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Find something you love. Peace out.